Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about SQlite. Thank you very much for joining the video and thank you very much for all the subscribed people to my channel, all the people that are paid users to my channel. That actually means a lot to me and it's actually keep on going to release new videos. And if you haven't already, join my Discord channel. The link is down below. So please join my Discord channel so you can actually request videos or we can talk about what is the needs of the users for the flow so you can make more videos. Yeah, and without further ado, today we're going to talk about SQLite, and I'm going to show you how you can set up the database, how you can set up read queries, and how you can set up updates. It says update queries, but actually a hint or a secret, or I don't know how to call it, but it is actually you can update, delete, and insert. I actually tried all of them. So basically, you can have like a CRUD application using SQLite. So what is SQLite actually? If you ask, it says configure your local SQLite database below to enhance your app's offline experience. So what that means is that if you have some data or if you want your app to actually work with data that is offline, entirely offline, then this is your database for you. This is the database for you. You can use SQLite. Previously, you had to use something like app states or something like that. Not anymore. You can use SQLite, and you have like hundreds and thousands and maybe millions of records. Don't ask me about what is the space, what will be generated if you have like millions of records in data in SQLite, sorry. But probably in the comments, if someone have like millions of records or hundreds of thousands of records, can actually link, or sorry, not link, but write what will be the database size. But I imagine that it will be not that big of a size. But the first thing, so let's actually start into. So the first thing I want to talk about is the database. So what do you need for your database? Of course, you need a file, and it will be a one single file with an extension of DB, which is database. It's not an it's not an SQL file. It's a DB file. And I have actually created my own DB file, and it's actually about the Bulgarian football. It's super simple file, and I found a website in the internet where you can actually open the file. So it's SQLite Viewer web app. I'm using this one, and you can actually click on here, open file, and I just did that, right? I opened my file, which is Bulgarian Football DB, and I have the table. So I have three tables. So the first table is teams, I have stadiums, and I have players. So in teams, I have the ID of the team, I have the team name, and I have the city, and I have the stadium ID. So they actually, I made some connections to tables so you can actually see how you can make them and how you can query them. And then I have stadiums. So stadiums, again, I have the ID, which is automatically increases the primary key. It's integer, and it's automatically increasing. Like every time you create a new row, it will automatically increase the number from 4 to 5 and so on and so forth. And I have the name of the stadium, and I have the capacity of the stadium, and I have the location of the stadium. And then the last one are actually players. I have some players. I initially start with 4 players, then later we can add or remove or change players. And again, I have the ID, which is foreign key, and sorry, it's a primary key. And then I have the name, which is a string, and I have the position, which is also a string, and then I have the team ID, which is an integer. And this is also connected to the team's ID. So the stadium is connected to teams, and players is connected to teams as well. So we have one-to-many connections. We don't have many-to-many connections, but I wanted to make it like too complicated. Great. So now that we have this file and we checked that it's open this website, we can actually can upload it. So just click on that button, upload it, and then just name your database wherever you want to. I just name my BG football for Bulgaria, and that's your first step. Uploading your database. So let's now talk about writing your read queries. So I forgot to mention, but I'll actually upload the file of the DB or the database file in my GitHub, and I will also upload those read queries, so actually you can get it from there. And with add, you can actually add a new query, and this is you can write your name of the query, you can write your query, and you can write if you want, if you have variables, sorry, you can add them here, and if you want to output some columns, you can write them over here. So let me show you some examples. So first of all, how to get all the themes. So to get all the themes, I just name it get all themes, and I have this. So this is actually basic SQL. If you know, because I'm working a lot with MySQL, so or MySQL, so I'm actually very familiar with what is this. If you are not, there are a lot of tutorials out there, but it's not that hard. So with select, I'm actually selecting all the columns with a comma. So I have this ID, name, city, and stadium ID. So this is very important that outputting the columns, actually you cannot have an underscore over here, but actually without an underscore over here, you can just write underscore over here, but without underscore it still works for me, so don't care. It's that doesn't really matter for now. And then we have from, and then write the table. So in my case, I'm getting all the teams, and I'm getting the ID of the team, the name, the city, and the stadium. And then we have the output colon. So I have this name, and it's not knowable. I don't like knowables. You probably know me if you follow my channel. It's not good practice to output knowables. So that's why I'm not outputting knowables. So that means that all my records are having data. I don't expect a record that will be knowable and will not have data in it. All my, like I said, all my records will have data. And then this is string, the name is string, the city is string, the stadium ID. This is actually an integer. I made a mistake. This is an integer, and the last one is the ID. So it's very actually important that if your columns are integers, to output integer as well. If you, for example, the ID is like 99% of the time, the ID will be an integer. And if you say that it's a string, you have problems after that. So make sure that this is an integer. Great. And this is how to get all the teams. And what about getting teams and their stadiums? This is actually we're going to join tables. So again, we're actually selecting, and we're selecting from teams. So we're saying from teams, I want to get the name as team name. Because why we're saying as team name? Because so there is something else that I actually missed. In order to get this field, it needs to be with the same name that is over here. So what you can actually do is you can actually write over here, because you cannot write underscore. For some reason, if you have underscore in your columns, you can actually do it like that. So you can say the colon with the underscore, and then you can say as without underscore, and then just write it here without underscore, and this will actually work great. So I'm actually doing that over here. I'm getting like the team name, and why I'm saying that the team name is because name, actually I have two names. I have the name of the stadium, and I have the name of the team. And if I just leave it like that, this will be output as name, and it will not know which name I want to get. Do I want to get the name of the stadium or the name of the team. So that's why it's a good practice if you have the same name of a colon to actually output it as something else, like a team name, or just specify what is the difference between the two of them. And then we have actually, and then we get the stadium name as stadium name, like you see over here. That's why we're doing that, because we have two tables with the colon name. We need to distinguish them. And then we have the stadium capacity, and then we have the stadium location. And then where we're getting it from teams, but we need to join a table. So joining a table, it could be many-to-many relationship, or it could be one-to-many relationship. In this case, it's actually one-to-one relationship, which means that one team will have one stadium, and one stadium will have only one team. In my particular case, so when I'm joining, I'm saying that I want to join stadiums on teams. I will say teams, and it will equal to stadium ID equals to stadiums.id. So this is my joining, like my bonding connection. So when I write that, it knows that the ID of the stadium is equal to the stadium ID inside Teams, and it will actually like combine the two tables together. And then outputting, like make sure you're outputting this the same name as this one, or it will not work. So it's team name, it's a string. Make sure the type is actually the same as well. So stadium name, like over here, not this one, but you need to write it over here like this. And then we have the capacity. The capacity is actually an integer, and then we have the location, which is actually a string. So that's it with this selection. So let's move on to this one, which is get all players and their teams. So we have a very simple, a very similar thing to the one that I just showed you. This time we're selecting player's ID, player's name, and again we are writing player's name because we have a name of the player and the name of the team. Again, we need to distinguish which is which. That's why we're doing this with us. And then normally, like it's you need to write with capital letters actually. So if I go over here, actually I have to change that to capital letters. It's good practice to follow this naming convention. Great. And then we have the player name, and then we have the player's position, and we have and because the position, we have only one position, and that's why we're okay to write player's position, and it will know that the position will be only one, and it will be in only one table. So even if you write, for example, player's name, if you don't get the team's name, you will still actually have an error, and you probably have an issue as well, because you have two names and outputting as a name. It's not a good practice. You probably not get an error, to be honest, but it's actually not a good practice because you get the name and you wonder which name is that. So we have this team's name, and then the team's name, and then we have from players, and then we have join teams on players team ID. So this is the bond again. Team ID is equal to ID, and yeah, if you just leave it like that, like I said, players that name and teams like that name, you get an error. And then make sure that those are the same. So player name, we're outputting position, we're outputting team name, and we're putting the ID. And make sure that they're integer string. So make sure that the type is the correct type. Great. And now let's actually add something else. Let's add a variable. So get a player by name. And we can actually get the name from a variable if we are searching for a specific player. So this time, actually, we're using also something else. We have this select, and then we have the star. So what the star means that we're actually getting all the columns out there about this table. So if you remember, in players, we have the ID, we have the name, we have the position, and we have the team, which the team ID which the player is actually playing for. And then we have from. We can actually also write it in separate lines. I think it's more readable this way. And we have from players, and we have where, and we have the name. Make sure that the name of your columns are actually lower cases and upper cases, so they're the same. If you write names with upper cases, for example, here, it will not work. It should be like the same way you have named your table, or else it will fail. And then we have like, and then it's very important over here. I don't know if you see it, but there's quotes. And it's very important to have the quotes over here because this is a text. We're searching for a text, not an integer. If we're searching for an integer, we don't need the quotes, but because we're searching for a text, we need the quotes. Another thing is that you can actually probably see there are there's not dollar sign, but percentage signs over here and over here. So we have the quotes, and then you have the percentage sign. So what does the percentage sign means is that you need to actually search for, I don't know how this is actually called in English, but you search. So for example, if the player name is Ivanov, and if you actually write Ivan only, so you have the first four letters, but don't have the last two letters, it will still find this player. And the reason is that it will actually it will not care of the beginning of the word, and it will not care of the end of the word. As long as you have something in the middle, or the whole thing, or in the middle, they're the same what you're searching, you actually get a response for that, or you get a query. If you want to have something exactly what you're searching for, if you're searching for exactly this player that you want, let's say that you're searching for a specific name, then you just need an equal sign, and then without the percentage signs. There's the quotes, and then we have this dollar sign, and then curly braces, and you can actually see it from over here. You can actually see the demo from over here. I saw it from here. So this is how you need to do it. But like I said, don't forget to actually make it in a single quotes, or else it will not work. And then the player, this is the name of the variable. Make sure that this name of the variable is the same as this name. It's very important. And then we have the type string. And what we're outputting the name, and we're outputting the position. So again, because we're selecting everything, we can just write all the fields of the player's table. But in our case over here, we only outputting those two. We can also name it like that. We can also write it like that. Write the name and then the position, but it will also work if you output everything. Great. So I actually want to save those changes. And then we move to this one, which is get all things by city. So get all things by city. Again, we have the select. Again, we're using the star, so we're getting everything from the themes table, all the columns, and from the themes table. And then we have where city. And then again, we have, this time it's equal. So this time we're searching for exact match. And then we're having this dollar sign, curly braces, then the city, the name of the variable. The name of the variable is coming from over here. And then you can have multiple variables. Of course, I can add like 1, 2, 3, 4, as many as I want. And then we have the output columns. And then we have the name, which is a string with the ID. We're outputting the ID of the team as well. And we are outputting the city. Great. And then I think we're on this one, with the final one. And the final one, let's put that with lower cases, so it's actually a good practice. It says get all players. We don't have actually a way to get all the players, and this is how we get all the players. Select ID, name, position, and team ID. Again, if we are lazy and we don't want to write that, we can actually, I need to leave this, and I can just write it like that, and it should still work. We'll see, but it's supposed to work. but let's add it like that. And then we have the name, position ID, and the team ID. And the ID it's integer, and the team ID is integer. Make sure that you have the type right. Great. So let's save this one, and let's move actually to the update queries and talk about that as well. So the update queries is actually, it says update queries, but you can actually insert, update, and remove. So you can actually have the create, write, update, and delete. And here we have the create, update, and delete. So insert is where we're inserting. So inserting into, and we're sending into players. We want to insert the name of the player, the position, and the team ID. We're not inserting the ID of the player because this will be auto incremented and it will be auto inserted for us. So we don't have to do this. And then the values, we're actually inserting name, position, and the team ID. So the name will be a string, position will be a string, and the team ID it's not a string. So that's why you don't need to actually wrap it inside quotes. All the examples over here, I will make sure to post them in my GitHub repo. So if you don't see exactly what is written over here, don't worry. It will be in my GitHub repo, so you can actually copy it from there. And then we have the update. So if we want to update the player, so here we're actually inserting a new player, and here we're updating a player. So it's update which table players, and we're setting the team ID to this variable over here, which is integers. That's why we don't need quotes. And then we have where ID and player ID of the ID of the player. So in that update, we're actually updating the team. We're changing the team of the player. Great. And then the last thing that we are going to do is remove a player. So we have this remove player, and we have delete from players, and we have where ID is equal to this ID. And this is integer. We don't need the quotes when it's integer. Great. So let's move on actually to show you how I built everything in the UI. So this is my UI. I only have two pages. I have the starting page, which is the home page, and I have insert or update or delete, which I actually have to write that here. So insert, update, and delete. Great. So if I click over here, homepage, this is a link to my other page, and this is I'm outputting all the teams and stadiums, players, searching for players, searching for team, and players only. So this is all the players only without the teams. And let's get an example with this one. So if I click over here, this is a list view, and what I only did is backend query, and I will click on edit. I select an SQlite query, and this is get all teams and their stadiums. Great, and this will actually generate a list of children. So I have a row, and inside this row, if I click on the text, it's super simple. Just select get all teams and their stadiums and click on team name and just click confirm. And that's it. I did the same thing for other fields. It's super simple, and it's actually how you work with Firebase or Superbase or any or API core, any database in Thunderflow. What about when you're searching for a player? So right now, I'm actually statically writing something, but of course, this can come from a text field or something like that. But I'm actually searching for Ivanov, for example, and I'm just writing it like that. But of course, this can come, like I said, from a variable or something like that. And then for the city, I'm doing the same thing. I'm actually manually writing the city name, which is Sofia, which is the capital of Bulgaria. Great. And what about this over here? So this is insert, update, and delete, and we have the insert player. So we're actually inserting the player, and this it says label here. We actually have to change this to player name. Let's change that to player name, and then we have the why it says please position. It should be only position. Okay, great. So it's choose a position. So let's start first with the insert player. So simply text field to write the name of the player, the new player, and then choose a position. So I'm actually writing the position manually because I don't have them in my database, but I could get them from the database. But here in this example in particular, I'm actually writing them manually, like forward, midfield, defender, and goalkeeper. And then we have the choose team. So choose team actually is very important. First to enable add option label. Don't forget that, because if you don't do that, you will not be able to have labels. And then we are actually querying. So let's go to the query. We're getting all the teams. We need all the teams in order for it to select one of the teams. And then over here, we actually getting the name. So if I click get all the teams rows, then click on map list items and then select here, just select the name because we need the names. No further changes, click confirm. Great. And what about the ID? So the ID, the difficult part is that the option value data type, if you change it to integer, it will not work. If you change it to string, it will not work. So you actually have to write a custom code, unfortunately, for that, and you need to convert string. You need to convert integer to string, and you need to convert the whole data. So if you're having, because your data is integer, and this is coming from your database, so in your database in integer, you cannot change that. So you have to only change it when you're displaying it. So this is very important. And this is the code. It's super simple code. I'll try to implement in my GitHub as well, so you can actually see it. But then if I go back over here, in order to do that, you need to click on custom function, select the int to string, the custom function that I just showed you. And then for the data, you're actually again selecting get all get all teams rows, and then we are mapping it with the ID. So the ID is integer, and this will give you actually a list of IDs, which we are going to convert to strings in order for display them. Like I said, if you try to just change this to integer, it will not work. I tried it, it is not going to work. And then for the adding the player, you actually want to have only two actions. So the first action is insert player. So just select from backend. This is the backend. Select the SQlite, and then we have the update query. We need to update the query, and then we have this insert new player. And then for the name, we're getting it from the text field. Of course, it's widget state text field. Great. And for the position, we are actually getting it from the dropdown, which is great. And now it's the funny part, which is the team ID. And the team ID needs to be an integer, but we just converted to a string, if you remember. And now we need to convert it back to an integer. I know this is stupid, but this is how it's currently work, unfortunately. And we need another custom function, which is super simple custom function, just to convert from string to integer. We're getting the data string and we're converting back to integer with this return integer that parse and then data. This is all to it, nothing more, nothing less. And then we are actually selecting this from widget state, and we're selecting the second dropdown, because the first dropdown is the position, the second dropdown is the team ID. Great. And the last thing is actually going back to the home page to see our changes. Great. And again, for the player ID, the same logic over here, exactly the same logic for the team ID, exactly the same logic for the player ID. We're actually getting all the players here, get all players. And this is what we're using. And then the last one, it's removing the player. And this removing the player, actually, the only difference between get all players and this one, it's get all players again. Yeah, so the only difference about, let me show you. So the only difference about get all players and teams and get all players is that with get all players and teams, we're actually joining the teams table. So if there is a player that doesn't have a team, it will not actually show up. If you have this query, it will not show up. So that's why we have another query to get all the players without the teams, because it's so I made some mistakes and there were actually players that were stating that to play with a certain team, but there is not such a team in my database. So that's why we did it like that. So that's actually the whole setup, and let's actually move to the app and actually show you the final working example. This is my app. This is my final app. And this is the teams. Those are all the teams. This is the team name, the city, and the ID. This is the teams and the stadium. So this is when we're joining it. So this is the team, the stadium, the capacity, and the city. And those are the players. So we have those players over here. And then we have, so those players are with the teams. And we actually, if you notice over here, we have some players that don't have teams for some reason, or the teams actually are not, because we have, for example, this player, Dmitry Dimitrov, is actually defender, and the team, this is the ID of the player, and this is the ID of the team. So we don't have this one over here. We don't have this player over here because of the team. There is no team with ID 7. And then we have the search for a player by name. And if you remember, we put Ivanov. So that's why we have this Ivan Ivanov forward over here. And we have search for team by city. And if you remember, we actually search by Sofia. So that's why we have those two teams from Sofia. And then if I click insert, let me actually insert first a new player. So let's write a new player, which will be Flutter Vorov. And then the position will be, of course, forward. And then the team, let's say, will be this one. And then it's Ludogorets, Razgrad. And then we'll add new player. So if I hit add new player, and if I go down, you can actually see this is the new player that I just added over here. And if I scroll down, you can actually see it over here at the bottom as well. So what about updating? So let me actually go back so I can show you something real quickly. So I talked about this player, Ivan Ivanov, which is a forward, and the team is 7. We don't have a team 7, so let's actually fix that. Let's actually put it to Levski, let's say. So let's click over here. Let's click on the player. Let's click on Ivan Ivanov, and I want him to play for this team. Let's transfer him to this team, and it's automatically going back. And now you can actually see that Ivan Ivanov is now the forward. It's the position of the forward, and the team, it's Levski Sofia. And then, okay, let's fix about this one. It's Dmitry Dimitrov. Let's fix this one as well. Let's click here and let's click on Dmitry Dimitrov. And the team, it's, let's say, Spartak Pleven. And then click on transfer. And then this player, Dmitry Dimitrov, it's now playing for this team. Great. That's amazing. And now the last thing that we want to do is delete. So let's delete actually this one that I just added, Flutter Flower. If I made a mistake and there is no such a player, that this player does not exist, we can remove it. So click on remove, and now this player does not exist anymore. It was just removed from our database. So that's actually everything that you need to know about SQLite, and thank you very much for watching. Thanks for watching this video, but please help me to reach 4,000 subscribers. And when I reach 4,000 subscribers, I actually have a surprise for every single subscriber that I have. I will shuffle them and I will do a live session and I'll announce the winner. And what will be the winner? The winner should be a subscribe to the channel, and the price is this one. It's a Flowflow swag actually. I want to give to one of my subscribers. Like I said, it will be a live session when I reach 4,000 subscribers. And this Slack is actually have a t-shirt, the same that you see over here. It has stickers and it has a mug. So it's pretty good mug that you can drink your coffee or tea or whatever you like to drink from it. And like I said, I will give this to one of my subscribers. So please subscribe to the channel. And also, I'll do a live session. So it should be in the live session when I reach 4,000 subscribers. And I'll just pick from wherever who is subscribed. And it is in the live session. And I pick a winner so he or she can immediately DM me the address, and I can send this Slack box. So please subscribe to the channel to have a chance to win this amazing Slack box. I just want to say that the paid membership for YouTube is now open, so you can be a paid member to my YouTube channel, which means a lot. And thank you very much for all the people who are right now paid members to the channel.